2024 is starting off extremely strong. This is my January trading review where I review all my small cap trading. I do plan to introduce maybe a shorter kind of video for my algorithmic trading as well. But to be honest, I've just been so busy recently. So my apologies, guys, for not getting out some kind of algorithmic trading review for all my futures algos that I've been running on NinjaTrader primarily. But anyway, let's keep with the tradition and we'll go over my small cap trading. Now, as always, these kind of videos are a bit more ranty, so my apologies as they're not as structured and most of them are my thoughts kind of off the top of my head or the kind of key points I note down. But as you can see from the right hand side, this is my calendar from TraderSync. This is where I upload all my trades from my brokerage. We closed in at around 13,715. Now, after low gates, I believe that was about 12,000 roughly. So this was my first ever proper 5-figure month, but we'll get into that a bit more later. So first is the equity curve. So this month was, I guess, on how TraderSync makes it look, pretty exponential overall. For me, it started off strong. I didn't really actually expect to hit 10K this month. At least in the beginning, as you can see, until basically the 5th or the 8th of the month, I was around 5K. So I was like, okay, this is a pretty strong start. But I had the same thing last month where it was going super well. And then I took a lot of losses kind of in the end. And then I basically hovered at 10K or below after low gates and things like that. However, this month we kind of blasted straight through it and just never really looked back. So I'm very thankful for that. And the market provided some amazing opportunities. So these are my TraderSync stats. So I just take screenshots of these from TraderSync. It's just easier to all put in a PowerPoint and kind of scroll through. So we can see the biggest profit was $2,776 and 40 cents. So this was a really decent sized win. I think this was about 4R, which is really high for me, or yeah, just about 4R. My risk at the moment per trade is about $700. So you can see my biggest loss was 720. Had a bit of slippage. Overall, nothing too impactful. And every time I see that my biggest loss is what I'm aiming for it to be, obviously, I guess it's my work and my discipline, but I'm still incredibly thankful because I remember the years, especially year 1, year 2, where I'd see my biggest loss and it would be triple the size of my biggest profit. So it's still a bit surreal seeing this and seeing the hard work that goes into it and the compounding over time. But it's still great to see that. I'm always happy about that metric. Profit to loss ratio 2.4. This is decently high, to be honest. A lot of these wins this month were really big R winners, and then I kind of just took a couple small, not smaller, but just my 1R losses. So as you can see, like the win rate was only 66%, so I wasn't winning that much of the time, but the ones that did win, they faded like hell. So that's just been amazing. Profit factor 4.86, which is great. Total winners was 10, 5 total losers. That's 15 trades in total. We had 7 consecutive wins, which was pretty much more of the ender part of this month, and 3 consecutive losses, which, to be honest, for me, not too bad. 3 consecutive losses is about just 3 days of losing because I take 1 trade a day, at least for small caps at the moment. So overall, that's quite manageable. It's it hurts a bit on the week, but overall, it's not too bad. Next is my largest winner. So my largest winner was on ELAB. This was, as you can see, it was a pretty simple trade. Took it off pretty much right off the open, and then it just faded. We had a bit of, I hate to say resistance or whatever, but we had a bit of chop until about 10 o'clock-ish, just past 10, and then it just faded. This was a monster fade. I think looking back, or at least looking at the screenshot, I got in about 310, I believe. And yeah, this was exited at like 150. So this was by far the biggest winner. And it was just a great trade. It really added a lot to my month, and this was primarily a big chunk of my month. My largest loser was SGMT. Now, I did not enjoy this ticker at all. On a risk perspective, to be honest, it actually didn't go too bad. But when I was in that halt, man, I was getting worried. I knew I still had like a decent stop on this particular ticker. I had about a 15% stop, and luckily it opened up. I think it opened up just above my 15%, and then it moved a bit higher as well. So I got a bit slipped, and this was my largest loss of $700 and basically $20. So it wasn't a fun day by far. A lot of stress in that halt personally, but apart from that mental capital being spent on that, overall execution was pretty good. No really complaints, and I'm happy I didn't hold on to it or anything like that, even though it did sort of fade, I guess, later on the day. But realistically, it wasn't worth it to kind of ruin my risk management for that or anything like that. Stuck to my rules, exited, and got out. And luckily, trading with $700 risk, Max amount of shares I'm in is probably 2,000, 3,000, and on a ticker like this, which is $18, man, it's like a couple hundred. So it was really easy to get out, which was lucky, but didn't surprise. I was pretty surprised by this ticker halting, because it's like a $14 stock. Obviously the float is the main condition here, but off the top of my head I can't remember the float on SGMT, but I would assume it's sort of low, and if it isn't, then that's probably why I remember being a bit shocked in this case when it halted. Now for general notes, this was my first proper 5-figure month from small cap trading, and feels great. Don't get me wrong, it feels absolutely amazing. I think now the plan is just to try and keep consistency, but realistically, the more and more I've gone into trading over the years, I don't know how to put this in the right way. Obviously, I care about the money. We're all here for the money. But I try and not focus on it really too much at all. And these kind of 5-figure months for me, or just this is my first 5-figure month for small cap trading, I don't want to get it to my head. I don't want to start thinking that, next month has to be a 5-figure month, as I know that's only going to cause issues with my execution potentially. If I'm, really planning and wanting the next month to be a 5-figure month, if the opportunities don't present themselves next month, then hey, there's nothing for me really to do there, and I can't get that. Maybe next month is a losing month. You never know. So putting those expectations out is a dangerous thing. I want to always put the expectation out that I'm going to execute well, I'm going to stick to my strategy, I'm going to weather any drawdowns and things like that. But no, don't get me wrong, feels great. At the end of this month, I went out for dinner in a place called the Big Easy with my girlfriend and a couple friends, and it just felt great. It was awesome. Didn't go crazy. I'm not a person for like wine service or anything, but we had a nice dinner and it was really great. So I hope all of you guys can experience or already have experienced a 5-figure month. It feels absolutely amazing, and I just hope there's more to come with that. Now, it also kind of made me reflect on this 5-year journey. I don't think, when I started at least, I thought the reflection point was going to be hitting 1 million or something like that. But as you can see, haven't hit 1 million yet. Still decently far to go for that goal at the moment. But the amazing thing about trading is it's really exponential. Now, I don't aim at my trading for it to be an exponential profit curve, just because I prefer better risk-adjusted returns. So I always prefer kind of lower drawdowns, and I'm fine to give up a bit of profits. Now, other people, I've seen some traders and talked to some traders that are fine taking on that risk, and they do amazingly. Because they're fine and they can handle that kind of risk, they can do exponential growth in just beyond my kind of dreams. And I want to get to that point at some point. I think it's, maybe being a bit scarcity mindset to some extent has probably held me back in that mind, in that sense of things. But I want to change that over and hopefully get a bit more exponential over this time. But even if I was only to ever hit 5-figure months all the time from trading, I'd still be a very happy guy. So the goal, keep consistency above everything else. But it's mainly amazing to look back on this 5-year journey and see that I've actually been able to become profitable in trading when the first 2 years were just pure, pretty much pain. It just wasn't fun at all. Obviously there were the bits in there where I thought I was a genius and I could take on the market and make this kind of money all the time. However, over those first 2 years, a lot of people don't survive because you get grinded out. There are so many times where you can blow up, or you think you're completely right on a trade and you get stubborn, you keep on adding to it, all those kind of things. I've made pretty much all of those mistakes. So yeah, anyway, to be a little nostalgic, it's just amazing to kind of think about a 5-year journey with this kind of milestone. Now, also, it's continued to show me my strategies have showed strength. A lot of people were doubting those for a bit, and they still seem to be working, at least for my particular strategies, which are overall quite simple. They have a couple unique filters compared to, I guess, what other people are doing, which have mainly just been from like data analysis, not so much data mining, just from data analysis. And I do apply a small bit of discretion in my small cap trading, just because I think over the years of me trading small caps, I've been able to pick up on some unique cues or things that I've experienced where they give me a bit of a better edge compared to just pure data analysis on it, or systematic trading, I guess. But all of those kind of assumptions are founded in data. So I only really take my discretionary choices off things I have found in the data itself, and then I'm combining that with some experience as well. I think I've gone over it in many other videos, but the kind of split there is about 80% systematic, 20% discretion in my small cap trading. And then in futures, it's fully algorithmic. They're all just being automated on NinjaTrader. So I simply create the strategies and then run them. I do plan to introduce a parabolic strategy into small caps. Now, this one actually might be my first fully automated version in small cap trading. Now, not fully decided on this yet. I've done a lot of backtests on parabolic kind of strategies. I really do like them. They aren't as correlated to the overall kind of small cap market sentiment. They can kind of consistently produce really good results over time. So I might plan to introduce some sort of automated version of it. Now I'll keep you guys up to date if I do or if I don't. I have worked with other traders where we've implemented an automated strategy for them around parabolics, but this would be my own, and this would be something that I've created just over my experience as well. So could be something that would be really cool, but I'm going to continue working on that through Feb, doing a bit more backtesting about it, maybe doing some walk forward and forward testing of it to see if it is something that kind of still holds up. I think it does, because I know a lot of traders trading, you know, parabolic strategies, and they do really well, so I bet it will, but obviously it's still good to test anyway. And then the key really for the profits this month was end of day holds. Now, I know some people don't think end of day holds are the best, and I would agree to some extent. End of day holds aren't best if you have no other rules apart from exiting at end of day. Personally, in my opinion, from my data analysis, I don't think this is really correct. There are a lot of cases where you can exit a bit early, or, you know, just exit at a... Sometimes you can exit at break even, sometimes you really can't. So I've been in situations where it's reclaimed at the end of the day and I still have to take a 1-hour loss, and you know, it is what it is and it hurts because you've been in profit. But a lot of the times I can exit for break even or maybe some profit as well. And there's really good ways about going about that. I've always mentioned that using VWAP or some other key indicators to tell a reclaim or reversal in the later of the day in small cap trading is great for, you know, stopping those situations where you're holding until end of day and then it reverses and you get hit with like a -2R or -R. So definitely look into that if you want to do the same. But still, the point was that all the biggest winners this month that have made the majority of my month were from holding until end of day. They faded so much, even when I was at levels like, for example, ELAB. When it was at $2, I was, you know, I saw it on my phone and I was like, you know, that's an insane fade already. Do I really think this is going to keep on going down? And I personally didn't think it would. I thought it was going to stop. I was like, no, I should take this off maybe. But I kept it systematic and I didn't want to take it off because I wanted to follow my rules. And I would have followed my rules if it had reclaimed all the way back up to $3 or something. I would have exited probably for break even. But it kept on fading and I got it down to like $1.50, which is an insane fade and will make the majority of your months if you hold until those end of days, or where you're you know, exploiting the most out of your edge. So for some people, it may not be end of day holds. I don't know, there's so many other different strategies you can apply, but always the point is that you always want to take on as little risk as possible for the most exponential, not exponential, but the most amount of edge you can take out of that particular scenario strategy, for example. And in the case of small caps, you really can get some of the biggest fades and you can exploit those really well. And at least from my testing on my particular strategies, when I take a static kind of take profit, so let's say like 20% from entry, those always do worse overall, and they never get as good or as consistent returns because they never have any of those really big winners. Even though your win rate might be a bit higher, you're not actually making more money, and it's just overall not really worth it. So those are some key points at least I learned from this month. Thank you for watching, and if you liked, please like and share with anyone else who might be interested. I really hope Jan went well for all of you guys. I hope you guys killed it for 2024, you know, starting out. But if you didn't, February's here, and let's